Spring is right around the corner with its beautiful spring rain and blooming flowers, and Spellbinders has an entire spring collection to get you excited for the new season. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in this video I'm going to be sharing some of the latest dies and foil plates from Spellbinders from two different Spellbinders designers that will help you get excited for spring and send beautiful cards to friends and family. So I have supplies from two different collections to share with you today. I have Vicki's Showered with Love and also the Anemone Blooms collection by Yana Smakula. Although these collections have very different styles, I'm going to share how you can use them separately or together. We're going to start off with the Anemone Blooms collection and the products that I have from it. And in that, I have the Anemone Glimmer Bloom Glimmer Hot Foil plates. It has this beautiful flower that you can, it's actually a cluster of flowers that you can foil. When I'm doing a large one like this, even small ones, I like to use pixie tape to tape my foil to my cardstock. And then I place it down on top of that foil plate and then run it through my die cut machine. So once I pull off the pixie tape and reveal the foiling, you'll see that it is absolutely perfect. It hasn't shifted or moved at all. It hasn't overfoiled or underfoiled. It's just right. So that's just a little trick that I think has really helped me get better foiling results. I also am going to use the Hello Friends Sentiment Glimmer Hot Foil plates. They have all these little sub-sentiments wishing you a birthday as you're and I had a couple that I didn't quite get. I actually think the fewer you do of these in one go, the better that they come out. I always try and do them all at once, but I really do think one or two at a time is the best way to do it. Okay, these script foil plates are from the Hello Friend Glimmer Hot Foil plates as well, and I absolutely love this script. Wonderful, beautiful, and hello in this gorgeous script that looks stunning and elegant when it's foiled. Okay, I also have the wonderful script sentiments dies, so you can get glimmer plates, you can get dies in this collection. And I'm going to use some gold mirror cardstock from Spellbinders. The words in these dies are very thin, so I'm going to use some iCraft Easy Cut adhesive, which is just a thin adhesive sheet. You can just peel off one protective layer, just peel it back a little bit and lay your cardstock down on that. If you don't have double-sided cardstock like I do, you want the color side facing up and the back facing down. So now I'm just going to cut off the excess with some non-stick scissors and I'm ready to go. When you cut them with dies, you want the cutting side of the dies to face down onto the gold foil, and then you'll have the adhesive on the back, which is exactly what you want. We want to turn these into stickers. That just makes it easier to adhere so you don't have to mess around with liquid glue. Once I had that done, I wanted to cut out the shadows, and this is another thing that you can use the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive for. It's great with vellum because you can't really see it once you apply it down. So I'm going to cut the shadows out of vellum, and at first they're gonna look like white cardstock because I still have the protective layer on the back of that adhesive. I don't want to peel that off yet until I'm ready to adhere it down to my project. So right now I'm just placing the script words onto their shadow backgrounds. It's very easy to do. These are definitely, you have to be a little careful with them so you don't tear them. I did tear, I think, off the wonderful, just the little tail on the L, but this is how beautiful the foil looks when you foil them. And you can see you can get those sub-sentiments foiled, and then you can get these three words foiled. You can use the shadow dies from those die sets to cut out the foils. So I like having both. And then here's how the dies look. I like how that has a little bit of dimension with the gold mirror cardstock. Okay, you can also cut out the big anemone cluster once you foil it with some coordinating dies. There's also a friend die and a friend shadow die. So there's lots of interchangeable parts in these sets. And I love the way that the gold looks on pink or white. You just have so many options when you're foiling to create some really stunning cards. For the little sub-sentiments, I'm just going to cut them down into strips, and you can see how they would work with those foiled die cut words. Now I'm going to use the Anemones dies. So what we foiled before, that large cluster, you can also get in a die. So this is the one that has another die that you can use to fill in some of these flowers. I just used the outline die. I'm not sure why, but I didn't use the layering die. Once I have everything foiled and cut out, I'm going to start putting cards together. For this card, I've embossed some alabaster cardstock from Spellbinders, which is an absolutely beautiful cream color. I've popped up the die cut mirror gold anemone on some foam tape, and then I have a sub-sentiment which I'm also going to pop up. The sub-sentiment was foiled. The friend is a die cut and a die cut shadow. So just a few pieces to put together, and this is such an elegant, beautiful card. Really simple, but lots of detail and interest from the dies, the embossing folder, which I'll show you later in the video, and the die cuts. I also added a few of these little gold gems from Spellbinders. This is one of my favorite little sets because of the different sizes and different hues of gold on there, and they're just the perfect accent for a card like this. For this card, we're going to use one of the foiled anemones, and I have it foiled on white cardstock this time. I am going to mat some white cardstock onto some alabaster cardstock. I am really loving that alabaster cardstock. So once again, I am going to pop up this cluster of anemones. I'm going to use a sub-sentiment. That's why I like to do all of the foiling and all of the die cutting first, because then these cards come together relatively quickly. So if you have, say, an hour to do some die cutting and foiling, but that's all you have, do that. And then the next day, when you have a little bit of time, you can throw your cards together and it will literally take you minutes. So I used the die cut wonderful on that vellum shadow background and two of the foiled sub-sentiments and the foiled anemones. This one is also a foiled anemone, and I'm going to put some pink cardstock on white cardstock, mat that down. I'm going to use the anemones flat on the card this time. I figured I popped them all up, I might as well try them flat. And I have it a little bit lower on the card because I'm going to do both the sub-sentiment and the main word sentiment, which is beautiful and foiled. And then I'm going to use those both on top of the card. So I wanted plenty of room for the anemone to still shine, and all I have is the T and the F kind of covering it up a little bit. Let's move on to Vicki's Showered by Love collection. So the first thing I'm going to share is the Raindrops 3D embossing folder. I think many of you know that I am a huge fan of 3D embossing folders and embossing folders in general. This is a really nice one, especially for spring with those sweet little raindrops. If you remember earlier in the video, I said I used an embossing folder. I did use this one. Here's the adapter plate with the universal plate system. That is going to emboss your 3D embossing folders in your Platinum machine or any other die cut machine that you have that fits that platform beautifully. So without having to over crank the handle or, not getting a good impression, it's going to work perfectly every time. I'm going to use a Spellbinders blending brush, and I'm just wiping off the brush. I don't clean my brushes, period. I don't like to clean brushes. So what I do is I just will rub them on a scrap piece of paper and see if they transfer any of the color that I've used before. This one just took a couple of swipes and it was done. I'm lightly covering up this embossing folder with some Distress Oxide tumbled glass because I just want the raindrops colored. So that's a way it'll slightly hint the background, but mainly the raindrops. These are the Raining Hearts Etched dies. This is a really fun set where you can create umbrellas, a rainbow, a layered sun, a layered lightning bolt, some clouds, just a lot of little pieces that you can put together to create some springtime weather and cute little umbrellas on your card. So the umbrellas are layered. You put the top layer over that bottom layer and it creates kind of the inside of the umbrella and the outside. The sun is layered easy, just a circle on the sun rays. The umbrella handle is, I cut it out of silver mirror cardstock, and then the very handle bottom I cut out of black. There is another tiny, tiny, tiny little piece that's like the button on the side. I decided to forego that one this time. So I am just going to put all three of these umbrellas on a 5x7 cardstock piece. So with those large 3D embossing folders, you can emboss 5x7, a 6x9, whatever you want, because they are that larger size. And a lot of you have asked for larger cards this year. So I did want to do at least one 5x7 card to show how you can really kind of stretch these supplies, use 3 different color umbrellas, use a couple of different clouds, and then add in some sentiments from the Anemone Blooms collection. If you spot a collection that you like, but it doesn't have sentiments in that set that you want, feel free to grab what you already have or another set that you really love. So I love those script words, and I thought they actually look really cute with these umbrellas. So sometimes when you look at collections, they don't look anything alike, but sometimes items from both will work together. So this one just says, hello friend, and then a couple of umbrellas, a sun, and several clouds on that rainy background. I'm also going to use the 3D embossing folder to create an A2 card, and this time I've just embossed it on some blue cardstock from Spellbinders. It's one of my favorite colors of blue. I absolutely love it. And I'm going to only use one umbrella this time, but I am going to use some of the other pieces of the weather background. So I'm going to create a little rainbow at the bottom here. The rainbow has 3 arcs, so you can cut it out of 3 different colors, and then you'll be able to use the other arcs for other cards. So I adhered that down, and this time, because I have one umbrella and then the sentiment, I decided to cut the umbrella handle out of gold. I still kept the very bottom handle in the black, and you can see that I peeled off the hello, which has that shadow background in vellum with the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive behind it. I just peeled it off and stuck it down on my card there. So I'm going to pop up my umbrella, I'm going to pop up the sun, pop up the cloud, and pop up the sub sentiment. Everything else will get adhered flat to the card. So you have a mix of dimensions, which is really nice. And again, that script hello looks like it fits perfect with this card. So even though the collections, like I mentioned, look so different, you can mix and match things, especially like sentiments. Like I mentioned, these two collections have very different styles, but I really love them both. Do you have a favorite? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. YouTube thinks you might enjoy watching this video next. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. I'm trying to remember if I forgot to do something. I think we're good. I think that covers everything.